Mr. MegaManFan, and here's something a little different for Genesis does. We've done Sega Master System games in the past because both the Genesis with the power base converter and the analog Mega SG with the Sega Master System cartridge converter can play Master System games. But this was never released back in the day when the Sega Master System was on the market. This is a homebrew, and it was brought to my attention by Paul Chester, who I thank very much for that, and it is currently available on smspower.org, the one-stop shop for all things Sega Master System, knowledge, facts, ROMs, etc. I've even contributed cover art scans. I think I've mentioned that in the past, but if I haven't, I have. You'll find Mr. MegaManFan listed in the credits on certain games for spine art that I've actually scanned in and sent to them because I love that site that much that I've actually contributed things to them. But I'm getting off the topic here. I want to tell you about Silver Valley because I never knew of this game before Paul sent it to me, and once I went looking around, I definitely wanted to play it for this channel, so let me read you from this article on Indie Retro News to give you a little idea of what we're dealing with here. Quote, if you have a Sega Master System or run an emulator, then you might be interested to know a developer by the name of Enrique Ruiz that has released the first version of a multi-genre game for the SMS called Silver Valley. The game has been in development for some months now and looks to be a mash of other games such as Castlevania or Wonder Boy, and features not just platforming but also flying, shooting, and even sailing through 64 or more levels, all contained within a story deriving the action. When the game was first announced, it looked as if it wasn't as promising as the developer had first thought due to doubts about the playability, but given time, it has turned out to be a solid platformer, and the images shown with video on the SMS forums certainly show just how nice it looks, with lots of action-packed levels to keep you occupied throughout the week. That article was in January of 2018, and it is now 2020, so late pass. How did I miss this one on SMS Power? How did I miss this one overall? I can only say I didn't have an analog Mega SG back then, so maybe I wasn't taking the idea of SMS Homebrew as seriously as I could have been, knowing that now I can put any SMS Homebrew I want to play on a micro SD card and pop it right into my analog Mega SG, whereas I don't exactly have a way to do that with my Sega Master System. I'm sure I could buy some sort of Sega Master System EverDrive from Crix or Stone Age Gamer, just never got around to that. But here it is, and the comparison to Castlevania does seem apt because we had the section at the beginning with the chandeliers falling on your head. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't hurt the enemies when it fell on them, but perhaps I'm giving too much credit to Shovel Knight because when I play any of the different Shovel Knight games and something falls from the ceiling, it hurts the enemies as well as me, but not in Silver Valley. But graphically, it looks very nice. The platforming is difficult, dare I say frustrating. You'll hear me yelling and bitching a few times in this video, so apologies for my grunts and groans, even though I know Ryan kind of likes it when I freak out on the audio, but as I'm doing the voiceover, I know you'll hear some of that in the background, so if you don't like it, I apologize, and if you do, that's a bonus for you. As for the game itself, I've got a few things that I'd like to mention. First of all, even though I do like the polish on the graphics and the scrolling is smooth, which I would hope it would be on a Sega Master System game, it does at times seem a little jarring when you get knocked back and the scroll goes back down, but that may just be the way that the analog Mega SG is displaying the pixels, considering I've got the resolution spread all the way across the screen here. If I scaled it down, it might look a little less harsh. If I was playing it on an original Sega Master System on a cathode ray tube TV, it also might seem less harsh when it scrolls, but see, I only notice it when I'm going up and down repeatedly like that. Then it's not that it's not smooth, maybe it's just that it's too fast, and it strains my eyes a little for some reason when I'm going up a ladder When I jump off the ladder, it doesn't seem too bad. And then when I go up and down rapidly, multiple times, that's when I'm like, oh shit. Like, there, I know when I got knocked back, it seemed kind of harsh. And it also is kind of harsh because you basically explode when you die. And that's my next thing about Silver Valley. The challenge is partially because of the fact that you don't have extra lives. You have one life with 3 hearts in your life meter. You don't seem to be able to extend that life meter, or so I haven't found a way through my gameplay so far. And when you lose all of those, it's game over, and it lets you restart at the stage you got to. But having extra lives or more frequent health item drops would have balanced things out just a little bit. Maybe even a difficulty setting when you start the game for less or more frequent health drops. Maybe if it was even a little more Castlevania-esque. I know it's already been compared to Castlevania, but like if I could whip the wall and a roast turkey or chicken or pot roast or something popped out and it gave me some extra health, I'd be all about that. Again, it doesn't have to be like Shovel Knight where there's a silver tray with either a bomb or a fully cooked meal underneath it, but maybe something like that would help a little bit in keeping me going, because the knockbacks are really brutal. The small health bar is really brutal, but it's not in it of itself so brutal that I'm like, fuck this game, I ain't playing this shit. Paul, why'd you send it to me? God damn it. No, it's difficult, but it's just the right amount, if that makes sense. The music is good, the graphics are good, and once you start getting down some of the patterns of the enemies and start to time it a little bit, then the difficulty is sort of pulls you in and makes you go, yeah, this is hard, but it's not so hard I can't figure it out. It just takes work. And that is a good video game, in my opinion, when you get a level of challenge that is not impossible, but just high enough that you have to keep coming back to it and getting a little better and a little better each time. That is a good video game. That is like a Mega Man video game. That's like a Castlevania video game. That's why the comparison works. If it was just stupidly hard, like I Want to Be the Guy, or a Kaizo Mario level where the only way you can beat it is save state, die, save state, die, save state, die until you finally get it right, that wouldn't be any fun. This is fun. And I commend the creator of Silver Valley for what he's done here, which is admittedly very hard to do if you're making a homebrew game, and may even seem like it's more work than it's worth if you're going to give away copies of it. And it's on SMS Power, so clearly he's not charging for it. Anybody can download this ROM and play this homebrew. So he's truly doing it for the love. And to have created a game with this much polish and this much difficulty, it's a mark of dedication on the developer, because there's a very limited audience for playing retro and homebrew and Sega Master System. Those of us who do are very enthusiastic about it, which is why I have this channel and why I'm sharing it all with you. But it's got to be a work of love when you do something like this. Best comparison I can make is my friend Bob, actually, who made Baby Pac-Man for the Atari 7800. That's a labor of love, because how many people want to play Baby Pac-Man? How many people own an Atari 7800? And how many people who own an Atari 7800 are going to buy a copy of Baby Pac-Man? You realize when you take on a project like that it's diminishing returns. And if you're a weak-willed individual when it comes to that sort of thing, you would just look at it and go, man, it's not worth it. And you'd half-ass it because you'd know so few people are ever going to play it. But he didn't half-ass that conversion of Baby Pac-Man. And the developer here, he didn't half-ass his game. Enrique Ruiz, he put in the effort. And That's the other reason I can respect a homebrew like Silver Valley is he he knows what he's getting into, and he still gave it 110% and created all of these levels and these monsters and this soundtrack. I guess another good comparison would be Axiom Verge, because when you think about something done by just one guy and how well crafted that game is and how addictive the Metroid style gameplay is, where you get further into the game with each power up you acquire, and it helps you to find more power ups, and it unveils the story as you go through. And it doesn't have to be linear, but it gives you a path that you can follow, and you can sequence break if you want, but you don't have to. And it just, the level of love and care that he put into every part of that, that's, Thomas Happ is an impressive dude. And the fact that he's releasing a sequel, an Axiom Verge 2 in 2020, I'm super excited about that. I don't know which platforms it's coming to, but I'm probably going to buy it on at least the Nintendo Switch, maybe the PlayStation 4 so I can stream it as well, because I am such a dedicated fan of Axiom Verge that I really, really appreciate what Thomas Happ does, and I will go to the length to support him, especially knowing that the proceeds benefit his son, who was born with a treatable condition that unfortunately was not treated in time and left him with some crippling neurological disorders that are going to affect him for the rest of his life. So I know that when Thomas Happ gets the proceeds from me purchasing one of his games, that his son is the direct beneficiary of that. He creates games with a love of gaming, but he also creates them with a love of his family, knowing that his work as an indie developer has a direct benefit for his family, which you can't make too many examples of that out in this world. You can't look at an Electronic Arts game and necessarily say that directly benefits one person and one person's family, because there are so many people involved when you work at a company the size of that. But with Thomas Happ Games, it's Thomas Happ and his family, and that's it. So I guess the bottom line on that is, Enrique, if you made a physical version of this game for Sega Master System and you happen to see this video, maybe get in touch, and I might just want to pick up a physical edition for the Sega Master System, because I can't remember the last time I bought a new Sega Master System game in physical form. I completed that collection so long ago, and just playing it on an EverDrive style cart wouldn't feel quite right, since I can already play the ROM on my Analog Mega SG. If I was going to play it on my original Sega Master System, I'd want to play a physical cart of it. The only other physical cart I've bought for SMS in years is the conversion of the Game Gear version of Mega Man that runs on my Sega Master System. But anyway, I beat the boss, I showed you the game, now maybe you should check it out for yourself. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Thanks for watching.